Guess what, Lions? For as little as $5 a month, you can get access to exclusive bonus audio content and help this program grow by joining the Lions of Liberty Pride. To learn more, head over to lionsofliberty.com/support.
Look, Odie is our Groot. You know, he's big, he's slow, he's unkillable.
He only says one word, I am Odie.
Welcome to the Lions of Liberty podcast. Here's your host, your guide, your shining beacon of liberty, Marc Claire.
Welcome, my friends, to another episode of Lions of Liberty, episode 324 to be exact, which is very important because it means you can find today's show notes at the incredibly easy to remember lionsofliberty.com/324. And you may really need these show notes this week to follow along because today we are taking a look back 1 year later at the historic Liberty Draft. That's right, the Liberty Draft. It's just like a fantasy football draft, fantasy baseball draft, whatever fantasy sport you may or may not play. It's just like that, only with figures from the Liberty movement. We'll talk about that in just a minute, but first, I want to remind you guys about our amazing sponsors at Health Excellence Plus. They are really revolutionizing healthcare and the way we look at it and how it's delivered, and all through a very free market, very libertarian methods. So please do check them out over at lionsofliberty.com/health. And of course, if you're going to do a draft, you obviously can't do it alone. So why don't I bring in my fellow Lions, my fellow draftees, starting with, I always start with Brian. I'm not going to start with him. I'm going to start with the downtrodden, the man who came in last in the Liberty Draft last year by fan vote. He is from Cleveland, Ohio, our lawyer, our chief conspiracy researcher, which Lions of Liberty Pride members know all about, who've been listening to our Conspiracy Corner series. He is the one, he is the only, as far as I know, Rico.
I have heard of other Ricos, and I get annoyed.
Yeah, but I bet they have a last name. You're just Rico.
It's true. They're not committed like I am.
We don't use it.
Nothing. I got nothing.
All right.
So
good times.
Yep.
We will discuss your downfall after the draft in a little bit when we get into the show.
My downfall, that would imply that I was once high and then I fell down low.
I just re-listened to both the draft shows, and there was a point where everyone seemed to think you were. I mean, Odie thought you had the best team at one point. I mean, I'm pretty sure. Speaking of which, Odie from Pittsburgh, PA, the host of Felony Friday. John Odermatt is his real name.
Fantastic to be here. And I still think Rico has a good team, and people are underrating him. But that's just me. That's just me.
Well, too bad the only method we've tabulated to calculate the effectiveness of these teams is by fan vote. So it really doesn't matter. There's no other metric that's going to matter except fan vote.
So I win. I win.
Yep, forever until we do the next vote, which might actually be after the show. We'll see. And why don't we wrap it up with the guy I usually bring in first? I'm putting him last now to get him off his high horse a little bit. He is from down the street here in Culver City, the host of Electric Liberty Land, Brian McWilliams.
Yeah, maybe last to be introduced, but I'm first in the hearts of our listeners.
No, actually, that was Odie.
Odie is not first in anyone's heart.
If we're talking about the Liberty Draft, it is.
No, not draft related. I mean, just life.
In life. Okay. Well, maybe we'll do a poll just who lives most in your heart.
I like on our pride call we did earlier today. I was talking about Odie, and I was like, we were talking about the accident because Odie got in a little fender bender for all you out there if you didn't know.
He's okay.
People
He's still podcasting.
Is he okay? Yeah,
fine.
He's fine. He's fine.
Hit and run. Hit and run.
He can't walk, but his voice works, and that's all I care about.
Look, Odie is our Groot. He's big, he's slow, he's unkillable.
He only says one word, I am Odie. One phrase.
You're just jealous, Brian. And I had some nice thing to say about Rico's team, but Brian, your team is not good. In fact, the best person on your team, I traded to you. So
Rico's team is fucking terrible. Well, we're gonna get into it because I was looking at my team. I like my team. The only thing I don't like about my team now is that Stossel's on Team Reason, but he's still out there making great content.
I hope we all like our teams because they're our teams. But we'll talk about our teams in just a second. But first, I want to do a little recap of the draft concept and the draft rules. I briefly touched about it in the intro, but for people that didn't listen to the first Liberty draft, which you can find in two parts, Lions of Liberty episode number 269 and number 273, which means, of course, you can find those at our very easy to remember show notes pages, lionsofliberty.com/269 and lionsofliberty.com/273. Highly recommend listening to those first as a primer. But if you're too lazy, I will just tell you right now, the basic idea is we're basically doing a fantasy sports draft, similar to like a fantasy football draft or baseball draft or hockey draft, whatever fantasy sports any of you may or may not do. And we're drafting, instead of sports stars, we're drafting Liberty stars. We're drafting people in the Liberty movement. And to make it a little more interesting, we came up with some positions that we had to assign them to. Plus, we had some utility positions. We had 9 draft picks in total, and the idea is to look at the year 2020, so we're kind of looking ahead, so there's some prospecting and that kind of thing that can go on, but basically the idea is in the year 2020, there's going to be a presidential election, and we want a Liberty propaganda team of people out there talking about Liberty, spreading the ideas in various ways through various outlets. So the positions we've assigned are Libertarian Party presidential candidate, Libertarian Party vice presidential candidate, a male mainstream media star, a female mainstream media star, a podcast host, and a YouTube star. And you can put anyone anywhere, except for, of course, the male host and female host. And then there's 3 utility spots that we all had, which we could assign any position at all that we decided to. So with that being said, it is time to now quickly recap the full draft from last year. So we're going to start with the winner of the fan vote, which was John Odermatt. John, what was your team name, by the way? We haven't mentioned those yet.
Yeah, of course, my team name is Make Liberty Great Again.
All right.
And it's sponsored by myself, like I said before, because I have the Make Liberty Great Again gear, which you can get. I'll give 20% off again still. Discount code Liberty Draft at igniteliberty.us.
This guy always wheeling and dealing his little side hustle here.
Not for the plug-in. So, yeah, to summarize my team, and I think my 1 and 2 picks have really, really shined through. My first pick overall, of course, Larry Sharp. And when I made the pick, I remember at the time getting a little pushback. Ooh, Larry Sharp, it's a little too soon. I think people thought he was going to fall to the 3rd or 4th round, but Larry Sharp he's been everywhere. I mean, he's been Mr. Libertarian. He's been really the de facto leader of the Libertarian Party with Nicholas Sarwark running his mouth like a moron. And I think Larry Sharp has stepped up to the plate. And of course, he's running for governor in New York. And I think it was a great first-round pick, maybe the best first-round pick that anyone's ever had in the history of of
in the history of Liberty drafts, or just all drafts?
All
NFL drafts,
every
fantasy
draft.
sports drafts, everything. Baseball draft.
And my second-round pick, I'm not going to go through every pick. I'll just hit like 4 of these.
Go
But
through
my
every
first
pick.
2.
We want to know your picks.
My second one, Jason Stapleton. Jason Stapleton at the time had a very successful podcast, and I think he still has a podcast. He has a podcast like once every couple of weeks. He does a show, I think, but he's doing some secret TV show. So my prediction was that he would be a male MSM, mainstream media host of some type in some type of media on television on a show. So he's actually doing that. So bam, that is 2 for 2. I got Larry Sharp hasn't.
We don't know if it's Liberty related yet. We'll see.
Well, it's always going to be Liberty related.
It's
He's
still
probably going to be the next Bear Grylls. He's going to be out there eating dog testicles in the woods.
It does bode well for the pick, though, because either way, if he's on some kind of mainstream TV, that's a higher profile, so better for your team. One thing I forgot to mention here, before we go too far, people might wonder, why don't I hear the name Ron Paul? Nobody drafted Ron Paul. We made Ron Paul undraftable because it was just too easy of a pick. He's who inspired pretty much the entire modern liberty movement, and we didn't want one person to just be able to get them because they got the first pick in the draft. So he was off the board. And we also had a kind of a rule that basically this has to be at least somewhat in the realm of possibility. I mean, you can put anybody in any role, but you can't have like Rand Paul as a Libertarian Party presidential candidate because he's a senator as a Republican until 2022, and he's not going to quit the Republican Party and run for Libertarian Party. So we'll judge that on our own. We pretty much, that kind of fell off the board with all of Rico's picks, actually, but we'll get to those later. But we generally are trying to keep it in the realm of at least vague possibility.
have to remember to interrupt you when you're going through your picks too.
Yeah, you should remember to. If I omit something important, you should.
Third round pick, Glenn Jacobs, also known as Kane in the WWE, of course, running for mayor in Knoxville, Tennessee, stepping up to the plate.
Not Knoxville, Knox County, Tennessee. Those are very different things, I should point out.
Oh, is it really?
Knoxville's a very major city. Knox County is a series of towns so small that they form a county and just have one mayor for all of them. So it's not quite the same. But
well, you only need one mayor when it's Kane. He could be a mayor for the entire state of Tennessee.
He's going to burn the whole place down with his fire and brimstone, so yeah.
My fourth round pick, Lily Tang Williams. She's been sort of quiet. She's obviously still active on the social media, but she was a Senate candidate in Colorado, LP Senate candidate. Kristen Tate, she's been pretty quiet, but she was a guest on the Lions of Liberty podcast since I drafted her, so her career is definitely on the rise. And then number 6, this was a trade. I traded with Brian. This is where I had Judge Andrew Napolitano, and I got Scott Horton in return. So he's in my 6th slot, and Scott Horton is doing Scott Horton things. Wrote an incredible book, appeared on your show, Mark. I can't remember off the top of my head the number.
He's been on a few times.
Just go to lionsofliberty.com and search Scott Horton and just try to keep up.
There you go.
Number 7, James Altucher still has his podcast. Maybe he's not a libertarian per se, but he does have he's very open-minded. He's against really the idea of having a president per se, somebody ruling over. He's really against the idea of Congress. He doesn't talk about it all the time on his podcasts or really ever, but I think he's an interesting guy. Number 8 pick, Maryanne Copenhefer, also known as Libertarian Girl, and I don't know what happened to her. She disappeared. She worked for Rand Paul, Rand Paul's campaign, and now she's with Ben Swann somewhere, I guess. I haven't seen her anywhere. So that, I don't know, kind of regretting that pick a little bit. Come on, Libertarian Girl, step it up. Number 9, Bob Murphy, of course, the co-host of Contra Krugman, and just did the Contra Krugman cruise, or whatever it was called, that some of our 4 members went on. So Bob Murphy, a great pick, as always. And my number 10 pick, Nicholas Sarwark. Son of a bitch. I'm not even going to say anything else about that pick.
Well, I think based on this, and I haven't mentioned this yet, but towards the end of the show, after we go back and discuss our picks a little bit, we are going to have a chance to drop 2 people from our team and replace them. So I kind of have a feeling who the people you might be dropping are based on this little recap. But why don't we move on now to, let's see, the guy that was 2nd place, barely missing out. In fact, you might even say he should have been 1st place, but Larry Sharp just flooded the forum, flooded us with votes, flooded our website. But that's okay, because that's what we want people to do. So I don't want to discourage that. I call your win legitimate, Odie, because I want everybody that we draft to have their fans flood our website and flood our forum. So anyway, that is me, Liberty S. Pumpkins, my team being. I will try to quickly run through my team, starting with Tom Woods, who I actually made my vice presidential candidate, which was a very controversial thing I did. A lot of people said I would make him my presidential candidate, but I actually gave that to my 2nd round pick, Vince Vaughn, due to his high profile as a big actor and a guy who can obviously hang in the mainstream media. My 3rd round pick, I drafted Austin Peterson. I gave him a slot as a male talk show host, and then I got Julie Borowski in round 4. She's obviously my YouTube star. Got Part of the Problem's Dave Smith in round 5, podcast host Eric July. I'm using him as a producer, a reporter, and just a general. Obviously, he's kicking ass with backwards right now, so he's blown up great since the draft. Also, Dave Smith, Libertas, his album was number 1 on iTunes for a couple weeks. So a couple of my picks that are panning out pretty nicely, if I do say so. I drafted Avens O'Brien, libertarian writer, and just person that talks about liberty. She's out there. Mary Ruwart, big time libertarian writer who's been around for a long time, was very active in the Libertarian Party. She is my mainstream media talk show host. She is going to be the Libertarian Ellen. I've also got, from the other side of the pond, Robin Kerner. He's my main political strategist. And I wrap things up. I said it was 9 picks earlier. It was actually 10. My 10th round pick, last but certainly not least, my man from the Johnny Rocket Launchpad, Johnny Rocket Adams, who since this time has produced the wonderful Liberty Force comics. So to me, another one whose stock has risen, but we'll get.
However, also took about 7 months off of podcast.
Well, we don't need to get on all that. We don't need to get into all that.
And how about you call him out, Brian, when his first podcast back, you were the guest? Come on.
Goddamn right I was. Hey, this is the context of the Liberty Draft, my friends. And there's Liberty Draft is about statistics, not about favoritism or friendship.
It's not about buddies here, folks.
Exactly.
All right. Speaking of your thoughts about the draft, you're up. Trumpelstiltskins voted third by the fans of the show and Larry Sharp trolls, whoever came in here and voted.
Yep. And let's just all agree that my name, especially now in the wake of the Donald Trump presidency, my name is clearly the best name of any of the draft teams. Trumpelstiltskins.
He was already president when he chose it. Nothing really changed.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was. We did this
we did the draft in December.
November. This is the 1 year anniversary.
He wasn't officially president.
He wasn't officially. He hadn't actually taken office.
Okay, well, he was elected. Whatever.
Yeah, well, he hadn't done anything yet. And since he has gotten into office, his tweets. He's
been tweeting.
Fantastic. So funny. Okay. Number 1, I took John Stossel as my POTUS. I took Judge Andrew Napolitano, which is with the trade with Odie's team for Horton. I took Kennedy as my mainstream media female host. And
the ghost of John F. Kennedy?
Ass. Yes, the ghost of John F. Kennedy. I'm a libertarianism. She's still rocking it out. She still, thank God, still has a show on Fox Business. John Stossel, of course, is now doing online content for Reason, which arguably might have more reach than Fox, but who knows? Nick Gillespie, also at Reason. That's a problem because I didn't want to have 2 Reason people on my team, and I also don't think Nick Gillespie is the best, but still, he has a good reach. Roger Paxton, tearing it up.
Jeff
Deist as my chief of staff. Kurt Russell, as media figure and my best friend, he will be dropped from the team. And 8, Justin Amash, still out there, still being a libertarian-leaning stalwart and doing God's work. And Joe Rogan, a guy who we all can get behind, has had a lot of libertarians on the program, continues to have the largest listenership of virtually any program on the planet. And rounding it out with Carrie Wedler, who will also be dropped.
Well, we're just skipping right to the drops for Brian. All right, well, we know that's what's happening with your drops, I guess. That's good. That's good to know, because who people are dropping might affect whether we drop people. So, that being said, I'm going to move over to last, but not last in our hearts, the man who made the Liberty Draft really more interesting than anybody else. I'll definitely give him that, but he did sadly come in last place by quite a bit in the fan poll. He is the man who was so down on the draft that he never even named his team because his name is still TBD. Rico, why don't you recap this?
It's called the Clevelanders.
This
still
insane draft.
To be determined.
He's waiting to round things out to determine it.
Forgot about the draft about 1 week after it happened, and I'm remembering it now. And if you think I wasn't prepared last time, just wait till today's show. So.
You're so prepared for Conspiracy Corners that I forgive any other lack of preparedness.
I'll try to make it interesting again. So we'll see how that works out, though. So in order, I took Trey Parker and Matt Stone with my first round pick,
which was very controversial. That caused about 10 minutes of arguing on the first show.
I don't think it's controversial at all.
Well, it is. I'm still annoyed by it.
It's a 2 for 1.
Okay. Google 100 most influential libertarians, and there is a Newsmax article. I'm sure they're very reputable. And number 43.
The controversy is not who you chose, is that you get to choose 2 with 1 pick.
Number 43, all the other people listed are 1 person. Number 43 is Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
Remind me to always take my lead from a publication that all they want to do is suck the Cato Institute's dick.
What?
You heard me. That Newsmax piece is done in conjunction with Cato. That's why it's got so many fucking
neo-Connie. I don't know.
They are neo-Connie, yeah, but so's Cato.
No.
Yeah, a lot of these people on this list don't strike me as libertarians, but the point is that Trey Parker and Matt Stone were linked. I kind of think of them like that Matt Damon and whoever else movie where they were the conjoined twins.
Oh, I love that movie.
That I never
the
saw.
Farrelly brothers.
Yeah. So I kind of think of Trey Parker and Matt Stone that way.
All right. Well, let's good. But before you move on, though, I do want to point out that have you guys been watching South Park? I know you all listen
I just listen to your
intently
recaps. I do.
Oh, really?
I legitimately do. I haven't watched it, so I just listen to the recaps.
Well, then I don't know if Odie and Rico have or you've been watching South Park, but they took a turn for the fucking social justice warrior bent a little bit, and it pissed me off. So I don't know. They're losing the libertarian cred to me a little bit. Although the last episode, I won't give it away because it just came out yesterday.
We'll talk about more in the rising and falling section.
All right. Oh, okay. Never mind. I'll let it go.
I sent you a format. All right, Rico.
Yeah, but then you immediately broke format.
Well, sometimes you have to do that.
By introducing me last.
So I'm going to have a hard time talking about the rising and falling of each member of my team, so I'll let everyone else do that as well. Number 2, Adam Carolla, podcast host. Number 3, Judd Weiss, LP VP. 4th, Peter Schiff, YouTube star. 5th, Ben Swan, male mainstream media host. Where are you, Ben?
Stock dropped.
That was a 5th round pick made on it was like a long shot that he would come back to life, and he hasn't.
Oh, Ben, we loved your Pizzagate special though. So anyway,
sorry.
Number 6. Apparently, I dropped right after the draft. I don't remember why.
You did because we break all the rules for Rico. We actually let you drop her right away.
Apparently,
I think you found out she was a socialist.
Yeah.
Again, the lack of research really caught up to Rico here.
I feel like a Browns general manager just finding these things out after the fact.
Well, you are a lawyer.
Hey.
Wait, Johnny Manziel's a pothead, stoner, drunk? Oh, shit. Oh, well.
Oh, well. He'll be fun.
That's why they had a lawyer as their GM now, because they're like, well, we want to get Josh Gordon back on the field. We got Johnny Football's drug issues. We're going to need a lawyer to work through all these legal ramifications before we can do it.
It's all starting to make sense. So I dropped her and added Lauren Southern.
That's also not working out great.
Yeah.
Which really we shouldn't have been allowed you to do until today, but we did. Because
number 7 was also a brilliant double pick.
The master of the
brothers.
2-in-1.
Yeah.
You found the only 2 groups of people that are allowed to be drafted as one.
Yep. I'm a genius. Number 8, John Mackey for my libertarian president. Okay. Good. Number 9, Daniel McAdams, my political consultant, foreign policy advisor. And then 10 is Thomas DiLorenzo, Secretary of Education.
That might be my favorite of all your choices. Not the pick itself as much as his position, because then the whole entire education of the United States just turns into anti-Lincoln tirades at all levels of education.
We'll tear down the Lincoln Monument brick by brick, starting today.
All right. Well, that was
we go.
Yeah, that was a quite long recap of the Liberty Draft. We probably should have just told you to go listen to those episodes and remember it. But because we know you're lazy, we decided to go through the whole draft for you guys. And now, we're not going to go through every pick, obviously, but we're going to go through each of our teams and we can all debate each of these people. But I think each of us can choose people from our own team that we think has risen or fallen. And then, some of us can jump in there and point out people we think have dropped a bit from each team, and basically no rules. So let's just talk. Starting with Odie, though, we'll go in this same order, and then after the break, we're gonna have a little redraft period. Then we'll go in like a real draft. We'll go with worst to first, which obviously we get to start with TBD. But Odie, who do you think on your team? Is there anybody that stands out? Obviously, I know you already mentioned that you think the status of Sarwark and Copenhefer have dropped a bit. They've been pretty well. Sarwark has not been off the radar. He's been very much on the radar. But what's your general consensus here? Anybody you think has really stood out as rising quickly, falling quickly? What's the deal?
Well, yeah, I think Larry Sharp and Glenn Jacobs and Jason Stapleton, my first 3 picks, really, really rising quickly. Scott Horton is just doing Scott Horton things. He's always going to do that. But yeah, dropping like a rock is Nicholas Sarwark. And been very disappointed. I tried to bring him on the team to be a consultant to try to help Larry Sharp get that 2020 LP. He called me a Nazi?
That's what I heard. I don't know.
Did he tell you? Did he? Well, you're off the team, Nick. You're off the team.
We may as well do this part. We may as well just combine the drop part, actually, now that I think about it. We're going off format. Rip it all up. Delete it from your files. I think this is the part where we can actually drop people, and then we'll come back from the break, and that's when we'll do our ads. So why don't you tell me right now, since I think we've already figured out, who are you dropping?
Yeah, I'm dropping Nick, and I'm dropping Libertarian girl Maryanne Copenhefer.
I was going to say, Maryanne Copenhefer has done shit.
And anybody who has the link to the Google Doc that we use, I just resent it a little bit ago, you will see their names disappear. They do not exist. Although, when we do it 2 rounds of drafting just after the break, you can draft those people. So somebody else might do it.
You can.
Yeah, I can't wait to jump all over that Star Wars.
I think, I mean, I haven't seen too much from Kristen Tate other than her appearance on the Lions of Liberty podcast, which obviously, boosts her stock quite a bit. And like you said, Lily Tang's been pretty quiet, but she's still, she's a great person.
I will also say with Kristen Tate, it's sort of disappointing. She was a big time Trump supporter. Maybe Trumpy. Not big time, but yeah, she definitely defended Trump as not very libertarian there, but
in her defense, she will at least say, like, Trump is not a libertarian, but I think he's so much better than the other side that I'm going with it. Which at least is saying he's not a libertarian, which other people don't do.
Right? That's better than not doing that.
And Stapleton, I think you can actually go either way on, because I was actually thinking his stock dropped a little bit in a way because he spent so much time away from his show. I've seen, and so how much has that affected his audience and all that? But he's really smart with marketing, and I'm sure he's able to still keep it up. But
our numbers haven't seen a bump, so.
What's that?
I said our numbers haven't seen a bump, so they're clearly not turning to us.
Our numbers have seen quite a bump this year, actually. Maybe you're not looking at
I know, it's a joke.
We are skyrocketing, folks. If you bought Lions Liberty stock in 2013, you're basically like a Bitcoin millionaire right now.
I was thinking about that. Did we agree we can't draft ourselves?
Yeah, we're not drafting ourselves. That was part of the original rules.
Then I draft Odie to make him my
You would have been your number one. You would have been your own number 1 pick if that was the case.
I would have definitely been in the top 5.
Yeah, no, we're not drafting ourselves. We do encourage others to have their own Liberty drafts and draft us, though.
Can we draft like Howie?
Sure. Well, yeah, I guess.
Are you fucking kidding me, Odie? I was actually going to draft Howie. And I am dead serious.
There's no reason.
You still can.
No.
Still can.
You know what?
Are we allowed to draft ancillary members of the Lions?
Let's make a call on this right now. I said on the first show, because I just listened to it on the first Liberty draft, I said we're not drafting ourselves. Now that's a key word because I said ourselves.
Oh, so you could draft. I could draft you or Odie.
I was referring to us as
the whole point was it was going to be a surprise.
You can't draft. You can't draft any of us podcast hosts.
Oh, all right.
But I never really mentioned what you might call the ancillary members, which would even include Rico, to be honest. So maybe you can draft Rico and Howie and JB Lubin.
Rico could draft himself.
Yes, he could.
Don't give him any ideas. Don't give him any ideas.
Rico should 100%.
No, he's going to draft himself and his son Jordan at once. He's going to pull another combo.
That's another team.
All right. So you dropped these two, and obviously I would pretty much agree with you. Larry Sharp has done a pretty damn good job keeping himself very relevant in the Liberty movement. He really does have an amazing way to not piss off anybody. Like I don't really know anybody that doesn't like Larry Sharp. Like. Really, I don't. I know some people don't care that much about him, but I don't know anybody that actively dislikes him, which is pretty goddamn amazing to do with that high a profile within the Liberty movement, considering how we like to just destroy everybody. So
I would say it's probably never been done before to this extent. Yeah,
I've never heard a bad word about Glenn Jacobs either, which is, I guess, not a good point for your team.
Not even in the ring? That's
in the ring, I've heard some crosswords. But
All right, so cool. So Lily Tang Williams still hanging in there for Odie, despite the fact she is completely irrelevant.
She barely hang on.
You know what's interesting, Odie? You're the strength of the rest of your team is really supporting the many weak links you have there.
Are you calling Kristen Tate and Lily Tang Williams weak links?
Yes,
because you hate females. Is that why? Brian?
You got me. Why would I? If I hated females, why would I have Kennedy as the number 3 pick?
Well, maybe
Carrie Wedler is the number 10 pick. I'm dropping.
You already said you were dropping her. That's why.
I am dropping her. She's irrelevant. She writes for somebody called the Mint Press now. What is that? What good is that to me?
All right. Well, let's keep this organized, and we'll talk about more of the switcheroonies because we are going to have an opportunity when we draft new players. After we do that, new players, new team members, whatever these people are called, we're going to have an opportunity to switch positions around in a bit. But I will say I don't think Tom Wood's stock has dropped or fallen. I think he's still highly regarded as, a well spoken member of the Liberty community, probably one of the top podcasters still and doing great stuff. So I think we're pretty even there. Vince Vaughn didn't rise.
Except he's a Nazi, so he's got that going.
The Nazi thing probably does. No. Yeah. Austin Peterson. Now Austin's stock. I don't know if it fell or not. He's not seen. It's really hard to say right now. Austin could go either way because he's currently running for, he's in the primary for a Republican nomination. So if he ends up getting that nomination, stock way up because now suddenly he's in a big national race. If he ends up not getting it, maybe stock down at that point because then he's not even in the Libertarian Party running for anything, and he'll just be there. So it's really hard to say. I would call him a wild card. Julie Borowski killing it. Even keel pretty much. I don't think too much changed with her, but Dave Smith and Eric July, I think that for me, those are, I think, the two that stand out as really, and I'm going to include Johnny Adams actually in this too, even though Brian knocked him for taking a little time off, but they had a lot going on because he had to put so much time into the Liberty Force comic book. And I think those three guys, Dave Smith had Libertas, really got him a lot of attention, was big on iTunes. Eric July was in the top 3 on the Billboard charts for a few weeks as well, so it got a lot of prominence for Backwards and a lot of the work he's doing. And then Johnny Adams with the Liberty Force comic, I think I bought low on Johnny last year. Not that he was low. I'm just saying I bought low in the sense of I think he has so much more to give. What are you saying over there?
Pity pick.
Johnny's not a pity pick. Johnny was buy low because this man's talented and passionate and really kicks ass at everything he does, to be honest. So Liberty Force comic is awesome. So to me, that is another skyrocketing value there right there for those guys. So I don't think anyone really dropped, to be honest. There's some that are kind of even keeled. Do you guys think anybody's stock dropped on my team?
I think Ovens O'Brien's kind of. I don't really hear much about her anymore. I feel she's fallen off.
I do think she might have taken a little bit of a break from being so involved in politics after, she's obviously with Judd Weiss, so she was heavily involved while he was running as the Libertarian vice presidential candidate. I know he's very kind of over the party kind of thing right now, which doesn't really bode well for Rico's team, but he's kind of over political involvement, so maybe that's kind of rubbed off on her a little bit. So, I don't think she's done anything anti-libertarian, but maybe she's not doing as much, active stuff in that regard. Fair.
Then I also say
what about Mary Ruwart?
Yeah, Mary Ruwart's done nothing.
I haven't heard shit from her, but in fairness, I hadn't heard shit from her before I drafted her either in a while, so I feel like that just keeps her at the same level.
And Brian just continues to tear down the women.
Well, hey man, I'm going from observations here.
Just because you ain't watching doesn't mean they ain't dancing.
Hey man, like I said, Ovens I've not seen. I just haven't seen much from her. I haven't seen much from Mary either. They seem to have fallen off. Those just, Julie Browski's still doing her thing.
Yeah, no, Julie's been all over the place. I mean, with
Robin Curter's done. Yeah, he's done. I was gonna tear into Robin Curter, although he just invited me to like some new page of his about communicating with people.
I was gonna tear into him, but then he invited me to like a page.
Well, no, because I was like, okay, maybe he's
Candy Crush.
He said, I can't get on this Candy Crush train without you coming aboard. No, I was like, okay, well, I guess he's still active doing more stuff.
Stuff. He's doing a lot.
I guess I don't know. Is he a big voice for the Liberty movement though? In 2020, I don't know. I don't know if his stock's risen. I think it's probably fallen.
Okay, all right.
Well, I think that's just the nature of what he does. He's a political strategist. He's trying to help people, trying to help with messaging and things like that. He's not gonna, be out in front screaming about liberty, and he's not going to run in the Libertarian Party because he's not an American citizen. So,
sure. And I didn't draft.
I think he's doing what he does.
Roger Stone's a political strategist. He's out there. He's in the news every damn day.
Shit, someone should draft Rico. You have to add Roger Stone to your team. Just figure that out.
Rico has a lot of people.
Spoiler alert: Rico's adding Roger Stone.
There's like 5. I thought we could have more than 2 drops.
No, I never said that.
No, 2 drops is the max we're allowed.
And we already gave you a free drop after the season, so you already have a bonus, my friend.
You already have to drop his
controversial names to add to my team.
Well, you're gonna have to really narrow it down. That's part of the exercise. All right, I'm done. Right. I'm done with my guys. Trumpelstiltskins. What do we got?
All right, Trumpelstiltskins. All right, so Stossel, as I said, Stossel's still very prominent in Liberty Movement. He's still putting out good content. He still has a very, very good name recognition. So I feel, even though he's lost his show, which is definitely a knock, in today's world, I don't know if that's really a falling down, because the people that are watching Fox Business are probably the old heads who don't really give a fuck about liberty anyway. So hopefully by going to Reason and creating content that's online, you can reach more people that are going to change their minds than the millennials. Yeah.
And maybe more importantly, he has not been tied up in a sex scandal yet. So
yes. Yeah. Unlike Geraldo, who apparently drugged and groped Bette Midler of all people. Who the fuck wants to drug and grope Bette Midler?
I do not read the news, I guess, because I'm hearing of this.
It just came out today, and it was like, I mean, of all people. I mean, Bette Midler was ugly when she was young and beautiful.
You know? Well, one day we'll have a podcast where Brian doesn't talk down about every single thing.
But today will not be that day, my friends.
Hey, I talked down about everybody.
I can't name a woman he hasn't talked down about that we've named yet, except his own
Kennedy.
Except your own teammates, like I said.
Well, that's the whole point, you idiots. I'm trying to rip your teams down. It doesn't help me if
you have no issues with our men, with our male. You did not.
I just ripped Robin Kerner down.
I wouldn't say you ripped him. You just said he hadn't seen much from him. That's not really ripping.
And by the way, I did want to bring this up. Also,
Candy Crush.
James Altucher fucking sucks. All he does is talk about Bitcoin. He does nothing for liberty, Odie. Garbage. Get him up. Garbage.
We got to go back to that because I forgot to knock James Altucher. I sat through a goddamn hour-long stupid webinar for that motherfucker about some stupid stock thing he was talking about because he really does a good job of marketing. But my God, it was the dumbest fucking thing I sat through. And it ended with them selling some $3,000 advisory package. And it was the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen. And I lost all respect I ever had for him. So fuck James Altucher. What
what he's selling now? You know what he's on? He's on the cryptocurrency.
Yeah,
the thing of the day. Yeah,
that's very libertarian, kind of.
I went from liking him to thinking he's a total snake oil salesman. I don't want anything to do with that guy. He's bringing your team down, Odie, and you can't even drop him.
Goddamn right.
Already dropped the other two guys. Oh, I forgot to drop somebody.
He's a fellow Jew, Mark. You're gonna talk like that about one of your brothers, really?
Damn right I am. I forgot to drop that I was gonna drop somebody. Because we're doing that in this round too, since we decided on the fly.
Well, you better do it now.
I'm doing it. It's not because I don't like her, but I do agree she's kind of been off the political radar in the last year, and I do want to open up a spot for one of a couple choices I've got. So sadly, I do like her a lot. I hope she's not upset. Ovens O'Brien, you're off the team right now. But I might sign you as a free agent afterwards at a lower rate.
I'm surprised you dropped her over Mary Ruwart. Mary Ruwart's
that brings me to my next drop. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm not going to drop two women. I'm only dropping the one. I have
better.
You're getting pressure from the social justice warriors. You can't drop
exactly. Exactly, Mark. If you really believed in the equality of the sexes, you drop everybody equally.
Mary Ruwart has been around the liberty movement for 30 years. She is not a flash in the pan. I am fully confident in my vision for her.
I'm sure she'll be around in 2020 with the end of this. What is she be like 85?
What is wrong with you? You're predicting this woman's death in the next 3 years?
What's she going to do? Hey, Mark, is her position on your team going to be handing out Werther's originals?
No, she is the libertarian Ellen. And there might be some Werther's originals under those seats. Maybe. Does she do that? Or she's going to dance and talk liberty, all right?
That's Oprah.
Okay.
Dancing is, dancing.
I'm referencing a joke that you would know I was referencing if you re-listened to the Liberty Draft today like I did, because you made a joke about that.
Oh, well.
Yeah. All right. Now what are you doing, Trouble? Well, let's talk about your team a little more first.
Going through it. So Judge Knapp is still on, still very prominent in media. So he's staying solid.
It seems like all he does now is make two conspiracy theories. Like they're always like Fox. He's like Fox News go-to conspiracy guy. He's like, I think that the well, that's not a Judge Knapp impression. I don't know what that was. That was like Jesse Ventura or something. What the fuck that was? He's like, no, I think that the Vegas shooting was a conspiracy. FBI covered it up. And you're like, what?
Yeah. Well, he's good at weighing in on like anything legal matters, though, and I think that when Ruth Bader Ginsburg kicks the bucket in the next year, he'll be very prominent in, and maybe even taking over that.
He's not going to get on the Supreme Court.
Nonsense.
Well, he'll be good.
I don't know how much on it. I don't know how much Fox News pays him, but he needs to just get his own YouTube show or podcast, or totally. The guy needs to get off of Fox News.
Totally.
Yeah,
He'd be so
I agree. He's not doing enough because Fox uses him in just little segments for commentary here and there. But he needs he should have his own. Like Freedom Watch was the best goddamn show, and that is why I drafted Austin Peterson, because he was the brains behind Freedom Watch. That was such an amazing show with Judge Napolitano, and he needs something like that again. Maybe
he already does. I agree. But fortunately, my third round pick, Kennedy, is still kicking ass and taking names, not only on her own show, but she is on.
What?
Huh?
Did you say unfortunately?
No. Fortunately.
You're like, I'm so upset that one of my females is doing well.
A Freudian slip there?
No, I said fortunately. So anyway, fortunately, she is still kicking ass, taking names.
What was that word that you said you didn't mispronounce like 2 weeks ago?
That's every word, every name.
Cache.
Oh, cache. Are you still doing it? Oh, the cache of weapons.
Yeah.
You were calling it a cache of weapons.
I said re-listened to the show, and I said cache.
So did we.
Oh, we all listened.
It was cache.
I don't really give a fuck. Anyway, moving on. So Kennedy is still got her own show. Going great, good ratings, and also is their primary person that covers anything political that happens. So any business coverage Fox gives to, or any coverage of presidential speeches, elections, Kennedy's on it. So she's growing on that network, which is great. Gillespie. He's still just chugging along at Reason, fine. Paxton, I feel, has gotten up. I think his status has gone upwards since the draft. I think he's still doing well. I think his lava flow is growing, which is great.
Plus joining the League of Liberty, huge stuff.
Yep, huge. Jeff Deist.
Well, you called a very good-looking man when you drafted him. I just want to say that was one of your.
He is a good-looking dude, but
yeah,
he had that little.
He only loves the dudes.
The blood and soil thing, which was blown out of proportion, but still very annoying.
It was blown out of proportion by far.
It was, but he's still sitting pretty. Kurt Russell's completely irrelevant. He is dropped. Justin Amash.
I just saw him get deleted live.
Deleted from the sheet. Justin Amash, as my round 8 pick, is still kicking ass in the house, so that's good. And Joe Rogan is still fucking amazing as a 9th round pick, still expressing very libertarian values, still having very libertarian people on his show, which has millions of people listening every goddamn week.
I heard him talking about some socialist shit the other day.
Yeah, you know what? It would be nice if he would step the fuck up and actually be a libertarian instead of just playing along with.
He sways with the wind.
Brings on people friendly to liberty, and then doesn't bring a counterpoint, doesn't challenge them. Then he'll bring on a fucking socialist and do the same thing with them. So I don't know.
Yeah, but you know what, man? Still though, his hugely against the drug war, and again, giving people that are libertarian a platform of that size. You don't see that anywhere else.
I mean,
You're never going to have
Dave
that.
Smith a platform, and that's the biggest platform Dave Smith's ever had, and that's awesome. Just doing that is definitely I can't argue with it.
Yeah, and Owen Benjamin is on there. Not that Owen Benjamin's a libertarian,
but he leans fairly heavily, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say I agree with that. So anyway, and then Carrie Wedler, who is she's still writing here and there, but mostly irrelevant.
Did you talk about Nick Gillespie, or did you skip him?
Nicola, I just said he's still chugging along at Reason. So
and Reason isn't doing much of anything really. They're just basically pushing out crap, like commenting on the Penn State pension of someone who spent some time in jail for the Sandusky scandal, which no scandal at all there, no crime occurred. But anyway,
I don't even know why Reason's wasting valuable time and effort reporting on that story. But yeah, Reason, I don't know. I get their emails. I open them. They've got once in a while some good stuff. They have some good educational reporting from time to time. That gal Elizabeth Nolan Brown got in trouble because she said they should punch Ben Shapiro in the face. Yeah. So I don't know. Ben
Stiller before Ben.
Whatever. No, Reason, for better or worse, guys. Reason is still the libertarian publication. So he's the editor.
All right, TBD. I know it's a tough choice for you because your entire team is droppable, if we were to be honest. But who did you narrow it down to?
One of my favorite picks was Ben Swan, and I don't know if he's alive anymore.
We didn't know he was
at the time. It was
forever.
Great.
He had just sort of disappeared, I think, when we first did that, and he's still gone.
I think the Pizzagate thing may have been in January of 17.
Okay, so maybe he hadn't even.
So he had a good run in 2017 for about 2 weeks, and then he probably committed some Arkancide, a couple of shots to the back of the head, and he's gone. So sorry, Ben. I liked you.
I do believe he is alive, but he's definitely gone from any kind of public anything.
So sorry, he has to be gone.
Which is still a mystery. Why does no one know about this? Why does no one know what's going on with Ben Swan?
Can I put him on injured reserve?
You know what? Because we break all the rules for your team, I'm going to allow it. Ben Swan's on injured reserve, and that means you can drop 2 more. Fine.
Excellent.
But if you pick up 3, you have to drop. Are you guys okay with this? With the Rico
I think
rule?
he has to drop one of either Trey Parker, Matt Stone, or the Koch brothers. Can't have them both.
Nope, they're staying.
Right,
and you can't drop 3.
Well, that's
make Liberty great again. Just draft Rico. What's happening with this shit?
So I also have to.
Yeah, that's me.
So there's a lot of people I'm debating here. John Mackey. I could be wrong since I really don't pay too much attention.
Can we go in order here of your picks, please, so we can discuss them in a logical way?
This is not we already did a recap. This is just whatever you want to say.
So, okay, I'm going to keep Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
Despite their social justice warrior status.
I haven't seen the episode, and I'm not taking your word for it.
Well, if you listen to the recaps, you're a Pride member now.
I haven't done those either.
You're a big boy Pride member now, all grown up. Yep, we make Rico pay to listen to the shows he does for us. That's right.
I have listened to one show so far. That money is definitely worthwhile. Keeban Corolla, I guess I gotta drop Judd Weiss because he's not really involved anymore. So.
Yeah, he hasn't done. He's
Sorry,
just
Judster.
faded into the background. Other than complaining about what happened during the campaign,
which makes for good podcast material, but maybe not good for propaganda, Liberty propaganda material.
Somehow Lauren Southern and John Mackey are still on the team.
God, how is that possible? How's Lauren Southern still on the team?
I had such a bad draft. What can I say?
He wasn't even really on the team, but we made one of many, many exceptions for Rico.
That is an impressively shitty team, Rico.
So how is Ben Swan on injured reserve? I don't understand how that's going to work.
I'm just putting him. You can draft a third person.
All right, so there you go. You can delete.
It's kind of like a golf handicap with Rico, you know.
Do we even think Rico knows 3 people to replace the people that he's?
We're gonna find. Well, we dropped more than 3, so he should at a minimum have those options, if nothing else.
Yes, I have some controversial picks lined up.
I can't wait. All right, so who's it gonna be? Who's the third drop? I mean, second drop with Ben Swan coming off IR if we ever see him again.
I have to keep Lauren Southern because the replacement I have for her isn't as funny as the one I'd have for John Mackey.
So John Mackey is gone. Well, he sold Whole Foods anyway, so.
Yeah. All right. Well,
now Jeff Bezos owns Whole Foods, so now he's just a rich guy at home doing nothing. Like we all strive to be someday. Well, all right. We've broken down the teams pretty well. We've made some drops, and now it's time to take a quick break for a word from our sponsors. We're going to come back and do a little mini draft. We'll see you then. I know many of you are facing major decisions with your healthcare right now, and I want to make sure that you know about an amazing alternative to your standard corporatized health insurance known as Health Excellence Plus. Health Excellence Plus is an incredible program that helps you keep medical costs under control by taking charge of your own healthcare and not leaving all the decisions about what doctors you see and what procedures you need or don't need up to some corporate bureaucrat. Along with providing 24/7 access to medical professionals, tax-deferred health savings accounts, and preventative care, Health Excellence Plus empowers you to finally take control of your healthcare. To learn more, head on over to lionsofliberty.com/health or call the special hotline for Lions of Liberty listeners at 855-290-4447. Be sure to mention Lions of Liberty.
Hey guys, this is Roger Paxton, and if you're fed up with the government running every single aspect of your life, but you're not listening to the Lava Flow podcast yet, then what's wrong with you? Check us out at thelavaflow.com, or just go back to sucking up to the government. The Lava Flow podcast, striking the root every single episode.
This is Chris Spangle, and I am the host of We Are Libertarians, which you can find in iTunes, Google Play, or at wearelibertarians.com. We are a podcast that brings you all of the irreverence that modern politics deserves by examining current events from a libertarian perspective. So please, check us out at wearelibertarians.com.
Hey everyone, the Johnny Rocket Launchpad is Liberty. Each week we strive to bring you the best guests in talk radio. The Johnny Rocket Launchpad delivers weekly interviews of noteworthy politicians, experts, and activists. The Johnny Rocket Launchpad is bringing the party to the Libertarian Party and launching ideas in your direction. Check us out at johnnyrocketlaunchpad.com, and you can hear me, Kurt Nelson, and the beautiful Heather Nixon talk about the ideas of liberty, rock and roll.
All right. We've all had our breaks. Little behind the scenes. We've all had some pee breaks, actually. Some of us peed. And we are now going to take a little look at our teams and do a little tweaking. There's 2 layers of tweaking. One is redrafting the spots that we just dropped. And then we can also move around our positions if we want. Change where people are at. So We're going to do this NFL style last to first. So, Rico, because you were the lowest pick in the draft, or because you were the lowest fan vote, you get the first pick in this little redraft. And this works out really well because we do it as a snake draft, and you're actually going to get 2 picks in a row at the end because we use the Rico rule, which applies to any rule we want to break for you. And we're letting you put Ben Swan on injury reserve. With the caveat, if he reappears, you have to immediately drop somebody to put him back in his spot. But for now,
proof of life equals back on the team, Ben.
Yes, correct.
Just show us you're alive.
We just need a beating heart. That's all.
A picture with today's newspaper would also suffice.
Yep. With that being said, Rico, you're on the clock.
All right. So this pick is not a surprise because Odie, and this was seriously going to be a pick. He's a leader. He's a veteran. And he's oftentimes hilarious. And he'll hopefully get me at least 1 vote in the forum. And that's right. It's Howie Snowden. Welcome to the team, buddy.
And right now, here is Howie with his acceptance speech. Howie, take it away.
Big guys are so touched. They didn't pick me. I thought I was going to be a big fan of Liberty.
You sound like a drunk Eric Cartman when you do Howie Snowden. Howie Snowden, the redraft, and he's replacing the 3rd round spot according to my spreadsheet. So that's like
he kind of reminds me of Judd Weiss in a way. So I think it's an apt, suitable replacement.
He doesn't take as many photos as Judd. That's
he's probably.
Who's going to take all your team's photography now?
Sure. Yeah.
By the way, Mark, don't you have Ben Swan's contact info somewhere?
I don't have his personal info. I have his PR manager guy that's always set me up with my interviews.
Probably fired him by now. Damn it. Well, give that to me because you know what? Maybe I'll try to get Ben Swan on for an epic episode 50 of Where Are They Now?
Okay, that'd be amazing.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be awesome.
I'll try my damnedest.
It would be quite the coup. All right.
Email it to me. I'll send it to him tomorrow.
That's it. Howie Snowden. All right. Moving on. Going in reverse order, that means that Trumpelstiltskins is up next. Trumpelstiltskins, you got a couple spots to fill. Who's the first?
All right. I will take epic podcaster. I wouldn't call him a libertarian, but I'd call him libertarian / classical liberal, Dave Rubens of the Rubens Report.
As long as you get his name wrong when you draft him, we're good.
Of the
Dave
Rubens,
Rubin, I think you're referring to.
Dave Rubin.
He wants to pluralize you, Dave.
Maybe this is someone else. I don't know.
I wrote it down correctly.
Were you just knocking him earlier? I forget if that was before the show or not. So he didn't challenge people enough.
He has the same issue that Rogan has, in that he doesn't challenge people on the show enough, in my opinion. But he's still, dude. Dave Rubin has a huge platform. He's got a massive fan base. He does a good job of espousing very libertarian principles 90% of the time. Although he is a fan of universal health care. Shame. But overall, very libertarian.
Pretty big deal breaker.
Just that minor thing. Just universal health care. That's it.
Well, it'll never happen in
just
America's
complete and again that total tyrannical control of the healthcare system. No bigs.
Hey, you know what? He's still better than half the teams you got.
He's just basically a fan of letting your mother and father die. But
nothing major.
I think he has plenty of fans out there in the libertarian world.
He's gonna, just will have your parents murdered if they get too old. That's it. But other than that, he's totally great. Anyway, moving along to me, because I was second place, not first place, tragically. And I only have 1 spot to fill. So this is actually my only chance. And I've thought about this long and hard. And, I thought about Penn Jillette. I did think about Penn Jillette. That was someone we all discussed as being left off the draft. And he may even get drafted later, but I'm not going to take Penn Jillette because I'm still annoyed by that stupid trading my vote for Gary Johnson votes and I'm voting for Hillary stupid nonsense. So that leaves you off my team. I don't like people that vote for Hillary Clinton under any circumstances. So sorry, Penn. Plus, he doesn't drink, so how fun can he be? So I'm going to do something, and I'm going to draft someone that I probably should have been drafted last year. I think he still actually kept his name out there in such ridiculous fashion that I feel like I would be really leaving something off the table if I didn't have this crazy fucking psycho on my team, Mr. John McAfee. Welcome to Liberty Ass Pumpkins.
That was going to be my next pick.
No,
that was my next pick.
But it ain't no more. Did you see the shit about him lately where apparently his wife was working with Belizean cartels and he was shooting automatic weapons at people in his fucking attic and his wife was in on it and it's a whole
story.
That is part of the story.
No.
Yeah,
that is the story.
That is the story.
The story I read was that John McAfee woke up in the middle of the night. He heard noises, and he thought he heard noises upstairs, and thought it was a Belize hit squad. So he started shooting into the ceiling, and then his downstairs, I guess a guy lives in the basement apartment below them. That guy came up with his gun and saw McAfee naked shooting through the ceiling. That's what I heard. I didn't hear anything about
there was actually
cartel.
He was shooting through the floor because there was a crawl space that I guess somebody actually did break into at one point in time. So I don't know.
This is basically the Oscar Pistorius defense. Thought it was a robber, and he just shot through the fucking wall.
As far as we know, there's no victims of a shooting here. So no one's hurt. No one has been hurt or killed, and we don't even know who was supposedly in his house.
And in the story in Newsweek, it was like McAfee rolled off on top from fucking his 34-year-old wife, and then started shooting the ceiling.
Yeah, I mean, this is all why I want him on my team. This motherfucker
he also said,
gets headlines.
He also said Bitcoin is going to go over $1 million, or he will eat his own dick.
His literal penis he'll eat on a plate with, I assume,
he did promise
sriracha.
that.
I don't know. So I want this crazy motherfucker on my team. I need some more insanity. I need some more headline grabbers. And you know what? When you actually listen to him sometimes, when he's not talking about shooting up his ceiling and his wife, colluding with cartels, he's actually can make some good points now and then. I really enjoyed his debate performances. I think he's the most philosophical debater in the whole thing. And you know what? I need a little crazy on my team, so that's why I got John McAfee. There it is.
All right.
Next up, and I'm done drafting. I've got my team complete. So make Liberty great again. Who are you drafting now? Who are you reading?
All right. Well, I got to replace the just a terrible, terrible pick that ended up being Nicholas Sarwark. And I need someone within the Libertarian Party who can strategize Larry Sharp's way into getting the the nomination for president of the LP. And this is maybe a surprising pick, but it's a rising star within the LP, building a huge caucus of people, bringing them together. That's right. The founder of the Mises Caucus.
God damn.
Michael Heisey.
Wow.
That's right,
you
ladies
guys
and gentlemen.
took my fucking 2 next picks.
What are you,
That
Brian
makes me
McWilliams?
so happy. So
happy,
happy, Brian, to take that pick from you.
You're such a fan of him that you totally butchered his last name. Good times.
Heisey?
Playing the role of Brian McWilliams tonight will be John Odermatt. It's Michael Heisey.
He's my understudy.
You'd know that if you listened to my interview with him. So.
Well, I did listen to it, but I didn't, take detailed notes on the pronunciation of his name. But he's a great guy. I fully support him. He organized the End the Fed rally in Philadelphia earlier this year.
He's done a lot. He is not new on the scene. I hadn't really heard of him before, but he has been very active for many years. So this is this is just more of a culmination of his activism than anything else.
Absolutely.
I was literally listening to Tom Wood's interview with him, not ours, just because Tom was the first one that came up when I Googled his name. But I was I wanted to know how to pronounce his name.
You could have just clicked back in your Lions of Liberty feed a couple clicks.
I'm too lazy to do that. Yeah.
Well, it's too bad you didn't draft him. That might have been one of the only names you've ever pronounced correct.
God damn it.
Better Google a pronunciation of whoever you got next. All right, TBD, this is where you got 2 picks as the snake draft. So you get 2 more, and then we're going to shunt it back over to Odie, or shunt it back over to Brian and then Odie since I'm done. So TBD, you got 2 in a row here.
All right, so these might seem a little odd, these picks I have lined up.
They're
probably not in the...
Caitlyn Jenner.
I forgot those picks. Those are great picks.
Flashback.
They might not be in the typical libertarian wheelhouse, but I've never claimed to be a libertarian scholar, and I don't think anyone's ever confused me for one. So what we're going to do here is we're going to focus on winning an election. This person has perhaps formed a presidential campaign committee. He has been interviewed in magazines about possibly being the next president, and I wonder when someone will realize who I'm talking about. World famous actor, multimedia star.
Not a goddamn libertarian. I know who you're talking about. Keep going, though.
He comes from a world that ferments libertarians like bacteria on a lake. I don't know. And he once changed the trajectory of a missile that was coming to blow up his car in a movie this year. And of course, I'm talking about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Yep,
Oh my
yep.
lord!
I knew it. He's not a libertarian.
What was
You
I
better
thinking?
pray. You better pray that fucking Kane infects him with some sort of libertarian staph.
Well, he's not a libertarian.
Oh, great
We
argument.
don't really know much about his beliefs, to be honest. We just know that he's incredibly charismatic and influential. So, amazing pick. I got to be honest. I'm floored.
Yeah, I think he has a better chance of winning an election than perhaps John Mackey did. So,
Braving. All right.
Yeah.
All right. What's your
All right.
next pick then? What's the next amazing pick to come out of the Rico camp?
Okay, also going to be a controversial pick, but hold on one second here. Crap, hold on.
He just has to call this guy on his phone to confirm that he's cool with being on the team.
If I've learned anything from watching Talk News is that you need a hacker to win an election. So this pick was come down to two people. I'll tell you the person
You
that
have two hackers in mind?
the person that didn't win, Julian Assange. Sorry, he was my backup.
Wow, he's your
Excellent, because
runner-up.
that's who I'm drafting next. Thank God.
So the winner,
So who's the winner, Rico?
you don't want me to do a little intro?
Yeah, who's the winner?
Okay, well, he is never been in the United States as far as I know, so that would be a little bit odd of a pick. But he has been hinting a lot of things regarding Hillary Clinton, Seth Rich. He did found a party. in
Donna
2000
Brazil?
Yeah, I'd say Donna Brazil's a woman.
All right, well,
And she's been in the United States, so
I'll just skip to the beat. He seems to be good friends with Sean Hannity, and it's Kim.com.
Kim.com.
Kim.com. Wow.
That is a shocker.
That is a bit. It's a very Rico pick. I'll say that.
That is. God damn, Joe. I want to get. Now I'm torn. Julian Assange was going to be my next pick, but now I'm torn whether or not I should go with Assange, who is a destroyer of worlds, and by virtue, he's not a libertarian necessarily, but by virtue of exposing.
Oh,
the
he's
two
a
main
big fan of
political
net
parties.
neutrality, so beware of who you draft. Actually,
No.
I support you drafting Julian Assange, actually, because I want a net neutrality proponent on your team to conflict with you.
Well, the thing is, that's the thing. He's not a libertarian, but by virtue of exposing all the corruption within the current political parties, he does libertarians a great service.
But he's going to do that whether he's not. I shouldn't be talking you out of this. He's going to do that whether it's on your team. So,
Hey, can I ask a question here on what we're allowed to do? Do we have to have each of those roles filled? Like, do we have to have an MSM female
by
and
the end
male
of
and
tonight,
YouTube?
you need to have all those roles filled. Yes.
Okay.
All right, I don't even know who I'm missing roles-wise.
Well, that's up to
Try to
you.
look
my
at
friend.
that. Well, anyway.
You only have one. You only have one woman, so you might want another
You
woman.
only technically need one. Technically, so
No, don't you need a? Oh, no, I guess you don't. Yeah.
there's only one female requirement, which is female.
Sure.
mainstream.
Yeah, MSM female. God,
Wouldn't it be
Julian
great to see
Assange.
the female in a Brian McWilliams cabinet, how she would be treated? Just
To be treated
Just
with
to see
respect,
the sexual assault accusations, I think would be worth
respect and
it.
spankings.
See? Draft a woman. Draft a woman.
Go with Owen Benjamin.
Owen Benjamin, you are trying to kiss up and get him on the show. Which is actually a good strategy, to be honest.
Yeah.
You
Owen
were just
Benjamin
drafting
is.
the Liberty Draft, Owen Benjamin.
Yep,
Come
exactly.
on the show.
Come on the show and talk about it. Well, he's blowing up. He's getting, even though he's got as many people hate him, he's getting so much more attention. He's getting booked more than ever. He's going on all these mainstream talk shows. Julian Assange, as we know, is not going on any mainstream talk shows. So,
He's been on Hannity, actually.
Assange,
Believe it or
over
not.
voice.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
So there goes your knowledge. All right, yeah, your team is complete. What are you going to put him in a role? Or are you going to wait? We'll wait to the end. I'll let you.
I don't even know what I'm missing.
I'll
so
let you
I gotta-
stew on that for a minute. Yeah, I think you have everything filled. There's the utility roles. So
Yeah.
our last redraft pick goes to make Liberty great again. Odie, who you got?
Before I do this pick, I think we have something to announce in the way of a trade.
Should we announce that right now?
Yeah, let's announce that first.
We can announce
Maybe
it right
we should do
now, which is going to change both of our lineups, obviously, our roles, because I am trading. We worked this out via text during the show. I'm trading Austin Peterson, my former mainstream media male host. He is being traded to Team Make Liberty Great Again for Glenn Jacobs. Glenn Kane Jacobs. Glenn Kane Jacobs, welcome to Liberty S Pumpkins, my friend.
The
What
crowd
a
goes
lopsided trade for me. Wow.
That's one theory. I mean, it could go either way. I'll say this. If Austin Peterson becomes the Republican candidate and senator, definitely lopsided.
Yep.
If not, could go either way.
Well, I will say this also, and this isn't the only reason that I picked up Austin or traded for
We
Austin.
actually talked about this trade last year, but didn't pull the trigger. But we were both interested, and then we didn't do it. And we,
I think we did, yeah.
A little off-season thought had us ready to go when the season
ringing
came
a
back
bell
up.
now that you bring it up. But Austin Peterson, people who've been paying attention to his campaign, he's been using my slogan, "Make Liberty Great Again."
That's why I felt that he was perfect for your team. Really, I didn't want him using that shit on my team. That would confuse people.
I will make him, pay me a fee for using that on merchandise and such, and everything will work out
that
great.
Doesn't cause any tension in the team.
No, I'm just kidding. He can use it for free. Just get the name out there, and
There's
it'll
no
just help my
intellectual
name.
property.
I love Liberty.
Hey, by the way, you fucking bigots, I'm the only one who's got a gay guy on their team. How about that?
Who's that?
Bigots!
I don't see sexuality, so I don't even know. I literally don't even know what you're talking about.
The rainbow vote's coming my
Paxton
way.
Gay? Just because he likes to, get on Spangle's knob sometimes does not make him gay.
He's a bear. Dave Rubin is gay. I'm getting all the rainbow votes. You guys have fucked up.
Well, that's until John Mcafee comes out of the closet.
Well, to be fair, there's a lot of members of the Jason Stapleton forum that are gay for Jason. So, I don't know.
Was that pre-goatee or post-goatee?
I think it's both. Pretty sure it's both. But all right, so it's time for my last pick here. This
now
one,
you've landed AP and lost the Jacobs.
I've lost Kane. It's hard to lose Glenn Jacobs. I mean, I'm happy that he's getting into politics, but I think this trade is a win-win. Maybe you can use Glenn Jacobs better because of his wrestling background.
I know what moves he's good at, so that will help. I think in our strategy. I know he can do a choke slam, tombstone. You wouldn't know any of that stuff.
That's true. So for my last pick, a very recent guest that you interviewed, Marc Clair, one of the youngest libertarian activists that I know.
Whoa.
I am taking, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, Dan Johnson of the 7 different.
That's not what I thought you were going with even with your intro.
Wow, I'm surprised you didn't get that.
I'm not that smart.
Most recently, talking on your show about the We Do Better.
Also,
We Do Better PAC?
Rico reference.
Panda?
It's not a PAC. It's just like an organization.
Just the We Do Better initiative, I guess.
I don't know. Actually, we didn't
awesome.
even talk about their legal status. It might be a PAC. I don't think it is a PAC, though.
Well, it's an incredible idea, and Dan Johnson is doing incredible things. So I think he's going to be a revolutionary force in the Make Liberty Great Again team.
Dan Johnson turned 21 years old like a year ago. He's very young, and he's already founded 4 organizations as a libertarian.
What a dickhead.
So that I know. I'm like, I didn't even do anything until I still haven't really.
I'm still not. Yeah, exactly. I'm young. I'm like, I can still make a 40 under 40 list if I get my shit cracking the next year and a half.
I just got to bang that thing out really hard. Yeah. I think you're buying some work ethic. That's for sure. This dude works his ass off.
I'm happy with my team.
All right, good choice, Groot.
All right, so our teams are complete. We're not going to do another recap. We've done enough of those. We'll post the entire list, of all the teams at the show notes for today's show at lionsofliberty.com/324. But one more thing we got to do. We've got it all in this document here. Hopefully you guys can see it. But we're going to run through the positions, including the changing of the positions, because there is probably going to be some changing of that. There has to be, actually, for a couple of us. So if you have no changes to your positions, I mean, you drafted Dave Rubin and Owen Benjamin. So what are those guys doing? You got to at least address the guys that you just had.
I have to give thought to it.
Dave
Rubin may take over as my MSM male over Joe Rogan at some
So what
point.
the hell's Rogan
He may
gonna
take
do?
over as my podcast instead of Paxton. That would make sense, actually. I don't know. I got to think about it.
Well, you got 2 minutes till we wrap the show up to think about it. We'll give you a pass for a second.
Fine. Dave Rubin's taking over podcast for Roger. I don't even know what they were before. So.
All right. Well, I know. Well, you're really prepared.
I thought I wasn't
Man,
prepared.
You're less prepared than Rico, and that's saying a lot.
I deleted the names and I don't remember what they had next to them. So. I know
I'm
Kurt
looking
Russell's
at the
best
same
friend.
document
Owen
as you.
Owen Benjamin can now be my best friend.
Just your best friend, right? Because you fired Kurt Russell as your best friend.
Yeah, Kurt Russell's fired.
All right.
Roger
Owen
Paxton
Benjamin,
will be my cuddly bear in chief.
Why can't Dave Rubin be your best friend? Are you
Because he's
homophobic?
gay? Is that it?
Because he's my podcaster now, jerk off.
Can't be best friends with a podcaster.
Brian just changed Paxton in the document to cuddly bear in chief.
Yep.
That's fantastic. I support this. I might even vote for your team just for that, to be honest. All right.
All right,
everyone else is staying?
I got dinner waiting for me.
All right. Everyone else is staying. All right. We're not even going to go in order. We're just going to do it. I am changing one thing. I think I got way too cute last year, and I made Tom Woods my VP instead of my P, and made Vaughn my POTUS instead of my P. I'm actually going to make Tom Woods, especially due to some chirpings. Maybe it's even possible. We're not sure, but there is a movement to harpoon Tom Woods as a Libertarian Party candidate. I am going to move Tom Woods to my POTUS spot, to my Libertarian POTUS candidate spot. And I'm going to slot in the newly acquired Glenn Jacobs in the VP spot, and taking Austin Peterson's place, since he was traded away, my former MSM male host, Vince Vaughn. Congratulations. You have your own talk show, mainstream, and you're going to interview every damn libertarian that's on Liberty as Pumpkins ever. And that's the only people you'll interview. And it's going to be a blast and hilarious because you're very funny. And that's my changes. That's it. Why don't we go make Liberty great again? Because I know you've got changes.
The only changes I have, so I acquired Austin Peterson, of course, running for
I
Senate.
see the change you made already.
I'm going to make him Director of Sales of the Make Liberty Great Again brand. So he's gonna head that up.
Wait, what was Glenn Jacobs for you before?
He was my VP. So
Okay,
my VP now is going to be Bob Murphy.
Whoa, interesting.
Moving Bobo in there.
I think he's so apolitical that he doesn't vote, and as opposed to voting. So you think he's going to run as a VP? You think he's interested in that?
I'm going to have to lean on Michael Heisey to do the convincing there, because he's my consultant.
And you're so pronouncing his name wrong after all this.
How do you say it?
It's Michael Heiss.
Heiss. Oh. Heiss. Well, why does he have the E on the end?
He didn't put it there. He's born with
Michael Heiss. Michael,
Maybe
I'm
he's
sorry.
Maybelline.
I'll never
Maybe he's
say it
born
wrong
with it.
again. Michael Heiss is the consultant for Make Liberty Great Again, and Dan Johnson is a full-time activist, which he does that anyway. So it's
so nothing changes for him. He has to mention Make Liberty Great Again in every press release. Basically.
Indeed.
All right, and TBD. I know you've got changes, or do you? I don't even know.
Just a couple. Pretty one-for-one swap.
Please make Howie your POTUS.
So Dwayne clearly is the president.
Right? Sorry, Howie. You're only going to be vice president in my awesome make-believe world. But he will have the ear of the rock, who will be the president. And Kim.com will be my hacker / head of the CIA.
Wait, you're really making Howie your VP?
Yep.
That's fucking awesome. Awesome. Completely awesome. I'm in full support of this.
He just won the draft.
Kim.com. Chief hacker. All right. That's a position, I guess.
And head of the CIA.
Head of the CIA. If The Rock is elected, he will later appoint Kim.com as the head of the CIA.
Yes.
I like it. This is great.
Can I get more than 7 votes this year? That
is the bar that we're looking at for Rico. We want more than 7 votes. All right, well, I think that really does wrap it up, because we've really gone way longer than we ever planned to go on this. But that is the nature of Liberty Drafts. They're so complicated, and there's so much to think about. But I do thank you guys for joining us for this retread, this look back, this 1 year later look at the Liberty Draft. It was a very fun time. It always is. And we will continue to craft and mold this team. I'm kind of thinking in 2018, we do maybe a full redraft, but keeper league style. So maybe we can lock in like 3 or 4 people. We'll talk about it. We got a year, but this is it for now. This is it. We're not going to talk about this for a full year. Enjoy the Liberty Draft. Talk about our teams, but we are going to post a poll in the Lions of Liberty forum and at today's show notes, lionsofliberty.com/324 with the updated rosters and positions. And we're going to do a little revote. So, Odie, you better hope your boy Larry Sharp is listening and ready to send his army back in to revote for you, because I got a Tom Woods, Glenn Jacobs ticket ready to rock your world right now. That's all.
I got an army of Larry Sharp, Jason Stapleton, and Austin Peterson, and Scott Horton coming.
People aren't going to leave his goddamn forum, but Roger Paxton's people will come vote for Cuddly Bear in Chief. Roger, get your peoples over here. Vote for this team.
I don't know. They might be pissed that you kicked him off the podcast for Dave Rubin, whose last name you don't know. So I don't know.
Oh, I know Dave Rubin. I know Dave Rubin's
intimately
last name.
All right, folks, it's been a blast. Until next time, we're going to wrap things up as we always do, but it's been kind of a while. So there's really only one thing I want to tell you guys, and that is
live long
and live. Trump will still scare you.